Hello, my lovelies. Ashe, ashe, ashe. And I honestly have to say, I really don't even know what that means. But, like, in my spirit, I feel like it means peace be to the ancestors or something. And it just feels so natural to say it. It feels like a proper greeting or phrase to say. Although if you were to ask me to actually translate it, like, I can't really tell you. So I could probably Google it and find out. But anyway, the purpose for this recording is that I've been really feeling on my heart that I need to give praise and honor and glory to my ancestors who have really helped me get through so much in my life. And although this is not a tarot reading, I just really wanted to use this as an opportunity to tell somebody other than myself, somebody outside of my social circle, just how much I appreciate my ancestors. For one, I have, as most people, been through so much stuff that I honestly can say that I really don't know how I got through it, looking back on it. And I recently had an opportunity yesterday to really take a look at some things that I had gone through that in the moment when I was in it, I really didn't have an opportunity to process because I was too busy trying to get through it. And when I was going through it, I was just like, wow, I don't even know, like, how did I know to do this? How did I know to do that? Wow, like, looking back on it right now, if I was in the same situation, I would have been so exhausted. I would have been so stressed out. I would have been so. And the truth is, I was stressed out, but it was just like, I feel, and I know, like, I was totally carried by my ancestors. And when I say that, I don't just mean that in some, non-corporeal way, just saying that. But I mean, like, getting actual guidance, like ideas about, okay, this is what I need to do next. This is my next step. This is the next thing, just on and on. And I felt really, really close to my grandmother during this time and my great grandmothers, who I have never met in this life because they both died before I was born. But I know for facts that they have been huge influences on my life. I mean, they're actually, when I look at the synchronicities and just how things came together with certain things and how it leads back to them, it points back to them. I mean, it just blows my mind. And it fills me up with so much love, like this deep sense of belonging and love and care, particularly since my relationships with some of the women in my family have not been that tight, like my mother and so on. Like, we have a better relationship now, but we struggled. And I feel okay saying that because this is anonymous and people don't know me on here. I probably wouldn't share that much if people did, but having that connection reaching out to me from past generations has been a very healing, bridging the gap kind of experience that has actual tangible results in my life and has actually tangibly helped me to overcome a lot. And I'm so grateful for those experiences, particularly right now when most of the world is in this heightened state of fear, confusion, and panic about this pandemic that we're going through. I feel as if, even though it is some very troubling, the state that we're in, and being kind of unsure of just how far this is going to go and how this is going to play out in the future, I'm also filled with a sense of peace in knowing that if I could get through the stuff that I've been through and I had help and guidance with that this is just one more thing. And why not this? And I made this to say, not just to give my own ancestors honor and glory, but to also encourage you to reach out to yours as well, because they're there to help you as well in situations like this, to help you have a sense of survival, a sense of thriving and prospering. Because the idea is that when you have a family and you have a line, a lineage that you're passing on, you want to see your offspring succeed. You want them to do well because they are you. They are the legacy of you. And so it behooves you to see them do well. And so in situations even as such as this, having that little bit of guidance, I'm not saying that it's going to be like the equivalent of getting a vaccine to prevent you from being exposed to it or catching it, coming down with it. But I'm talking about stuff like getting that little bit of nudge of, don't go out and go eat this food. Don't eat out over here. Don't come over in this direction, because you don't know. Maybe the person that's there, they might be, sick and they have something, and maybe they're working that day, because unfortunately, the reality is most people can't afford to go self-quarantine and keep themselves at home in the society in which we live in. When people have no savings, you can't afford to have a savings. You can barely afford to pay your rent. You can barely afford to cover a lot of things. You just don't have the luxury of being able to just take off time from work when you're not going to be paid for it, and your bills are still coming due. And so I hardly fault those individuals for trying to survive. They're trying to do the same things that we are. And it's a lot of incentive to hide symptoms, and a lot of incentive to expose people to something that you may or may not know that you have, because you need to still be able to survive. What good is it to get care and attention when you can't afford to pay for it? Or you can't pay for food, or you won't be able to pay your bills, and so on. So those are some very real issues that I feel like have been brought to light. And I'm very curious to see how and what, if anything, is done moving forward to make a shift in our society so that we're not so vulnerable to these kinds of things. They say that, we're all just like 1 or 2 steps away from being homeless and completely destitute. And I think that there's something really wrong with that. I mean, I don't mean to get on a soapbox, because I was totally talking about giving praise and honor to my ancestors. But just to loop back around to that, I'm thinking about how in the midst of situations, particularly when you live in a society that's not set up for you to be successful, and it's not really giving you a safety net, your ancestors that are your guides, if you call them your guides, your higher power, whatever it is for you, that is your safety net. When you tap into that, you get real guidance, you can get real understanding and real comfort in knowing that even though you can't control what's going on around you, you can't control everything that happens to you, you can really buckle down within yourself and trust yourself and your higher power, the higher power within you, however you identify that, to take care of you and to be aware and to access that information that can help you not only to survive, but to thrive. My motto, I told myself that for 2020, my motto this year is, I'm not just surviving, I'm thriving. And that includes during a pandemic or not, my motto is, I'm going to be thriving. How about you? Let me know. I believe in spite of everything that is being presented to us, a little bit of fear-mongering, some of it warranted, I will say that. In spite of that, there will be a better day, and we can make that better day today. You all be blessed, not stressed, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.